Bennett always guided the students into really thinking, not how to think, but to think first and foremost. We were exposed to a wealth of information. So, because we were in a segregated era, most of us had to sit on the back of the bus. Most of us went to the back door for most anything that we had to do that involved the majority group. So when we came to Bennett, it was a time for most of us that we were given the opportunity to explore thoughts and ideas on Washington Street here in Greensboro. And we were always exposed to speakers who gave us substantial information that had meat that not only concerned us just here personally here in Bennett, but the state, the nation, and the world. So because of the impact of that information that we received, we got together, and I'm not sure how it was actually formed, but because of Dr. Edmonds and his ability to rally people, and in the Greensboro community, he was kind of on an X list because the Ku Klux Klan had attempted to firebomb his home, but they ended up putting the bomb on Dr. Blair's home, who was our president at that time. But we met on the upper level of the student union. Some of us were sociology majors, history majors. There were people, I remember one of my classmates who I think was a physical education major. Anyone who expressed an interest in trying to fulfill some of the ideas that we had and to right some wrongs. Now, what we didn't know at the time was, as young people, and you all are experiencing that too, I'm sure, you don't really know what you're getting into sometimes, but we willingly stepped out on faith, and we met almost every night on that upper level. And the important thing to remember about our involvement with the city movement, it was not just involvement, it was the planning of the movement. Even the 4 young men from A&T, they also came over to the campus and they sat with us. There were also some meetings on A&T's campus that some of us went to. I didn't go to on their campus, but some of our sisters did. We discussed, strategized, we even talked about the history of oppression that we had been under, what we would like to see eliminated, how were we going to do that, and in fact, I'm sure someone in your class has interviewed one of my classmates, Gwendolyn Mackel-Rice, whose family lived in Mississippi, and her father was the president of the NAACP there, and they were run out of Mississippi because of his civil rights involvement. So we had to learn to know what our territory was, which was going to be in front of Woolworths. We had to be mindful of the kind of people who would be surrounding us, which basically would be people who did not like what we were attempting to do. We were made aware of what kind of actions could be taken against us, such as people spitting on us, hitting us, throwing a cigarette on us, pushing us, or anything. We were told we could not retaliate, and if you could not abide by that, you were asked not to participate. And we were given schedules by which we would go downtown to picket, and of course it was based on your class schedule. And I'm sure some people cut class to go to. I didn't, but I'm sure some of us did. But we would just, it was like just pounded into us that you have to keep yourself focused, you have to keep calm, because we just didn't know what to expect. And you can understand that in view of the recent actions that we've seen after the health care reform bill was passed. I mean, John Lewis, the senator, the House of Representative from Georgia, goes way back in terms of his involvement in the civil rights movement, and who probably has endured more trials and tribulation of anyone that I know, except maybe the older people like Medgar Evers, and who was assassinated. He was called the N-word. Representative from Chicago, Cleveland, was spit upon. I mean, it's just amazing. I said, we have not really come very far after having experience participating in the sit-ins. And so we did this on a daily basis, and in the evenings, we would come back and we would strategize to say, how did it go? What could we have done? What are we not to do? But most importantly, when we were in this planning, Dr. Player, who we always felt, she was just so straight up, and we were very concerned about what she would think of our involvement. But she was on board with us because we had talked about this in the fall, and she let us know in November that it would not be a good idea to start this movement downtown because many of the students would be home for the Thanksgiving holiday, and as well as A&T students, and how you're going to maintain your momentum. And if it went beyond Thanksgiving into the Christmas, who would be there to continue the picketing? So that's why it was decided it would not be done until after we came back from our Christmas break. Now, there are many stories here in Greensboro, unfortunately, expressed by people who I do not feel know the real story, who were not here, or are responding to what they're being told. One story that has been bandied about recently is that the four guys met in Scott Hall, which was the freshman dorm at that time, and they were just talking about what they disliked, and they were sick and tired, and they decided to go downtown. Well, if you think about that thought, how could you do such a thing? Decide tonight I'm going downtown again. Right. I mean, no, that could not have happened. But Dr. Player did state that they would be available because she wanted her students protected. And also on that day of the sit-in, we had students who had gone in the store and purchased items, and who were kind of like keeping a watchful eye on the guys as they sat. Because if we had stated that if they had gotten arrested then and taken from the store, then we would have sat in their seats. So some of the stories are gotten kind of